Hi and welcome to Windsor Academy's YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you a short video on how to make cake pops in 3 different ways using some of the tools and equipment that you can find in our online store. For your ease, I'll put a link below to all the items that you'll see me use today. So to get started, I'm going to show you how to put a cake ball on a stick. Now these cake balls were made just by any cake recipe, is absolutely fine. You bake a cake, you let it cool down, then you put it in the food processor, blend it to a very fine crumb, mix it with buttercream until you have a sort of plasticine consistency. And all you need to do then is just roll them into equal sized balls. So once you've got your good shaped cake ball, don't be afraid to put pressure on it. That's how you get a nice smooth cake ball. Then you'll take your lollipop stick and dip it in some of the candy covering. Now this is our own brand of candy covering, which is really good. It's not too thick and it gives a nice smooth coating. And today I'm using a PME melting pot, which we also sell in our online store, which just makes it a little bit easier to keep your chocolate melted or your candy covering the whole time you're using it. So I'll just put a few on sticks now, just to show you how it's done. So you just dip the end in the candy covering and pop the stick about 2/3 of the way through the cake ball. You don't want to come out the top, but you don't want to be too close to the middle. And you just pop those into some polystyrene just to stand up while you're working with them. Just do a couple more. Okay, once your cake pops are on the sticks, you just need to make sure that the chocolate around the bottom where you've inserted it is dry before you move on to the next stage. And that just takes a couple of minutes really. I've got 3 colours that I'm using today. I've got a yellow, a pink and the pale blue, and all of these are available as a Windsor's candy covering. If you find they're a little too thick, which they can be sometimes, that's absolutely fine. Just add a little squeeze of vegetable oil, or you could use Trex, or you could use the Paramount Crystal, just to thin it down a tiny little bit. And that'll make it easier for you to get a nice smooth coating on your cake pop. Make sure it's stirred in really well. You don't want the oil just floating on the top. Okay, so we'll just check back with our cake pops and see if they're ready. And that looks good to me. So, in we go. And you do not want to twist the cake pop, you just rock it back and forward to make sure it's covered, and out it comes. Just give it a little tap. You can either tap it on the edge of your little pan, or you can tap your hand to make the excess drop off. When it starts to look a little see-through on one side, just flip it round, tap it all back the other way, and that'll make sure you've got a nice even coating on the whole pot. Do that again. Rock it back and forward to make sure it's totally coated. Tap off the excess. And a nice smooth coating, even all over. One more time. Tap it all off. Turn it round. Tap the excess back to the other side and pop it in your polystyrene to cool. Okay, we're back, and our cake pops that we dipped before have gone nice and hard, so we're ready for the next stage. So I said I'd show you 3 different ways of doing this, and the first one I'm going to show you is just to do a half dip here. And we're actually going to make this a 3-colour cake pop, but what I'll do first is just do a half dip, and then we'll set this aside to dry again while I show you the other 2 techniques. So you just dip it halfway up, bring it out and tap off the excess. Once you think you've got rid of enough, just turn it over and give it a little tap down, just so the peak at the top drops. And we'll put that back in the polystyrene to continue drying. Next technique, we're going to make a contrasting stripe. So, making sure that our candy covering is the right consistency. It should just run off nicely, not too thin, so it's watery, but not so thick it's going to give you any trouble. So all we do is hold our cake pop and we literally drizzle our candy covering over the top, just back and forward. You don't need to move the pop, you just move your spoon. And there we go, contrasting stripes. Pop that back in the polystyrene. I'll show you the next one. We're going to use some sprinkles this time. We're still going to use our contrasting stripe, and then we'll put the sprinkles there. So exactly the same again. Put your stripes on. And exactly the same way as we've just done. But this time, while our candy coating is still wet, we're going to take some sprinkles. And these are our own brand sprinkles again, and we're just going to sprinkle those over our striped cake pop. Make sure it's all covered, and there we go, one stripy cake pop. Pop that in the polystyrene again to dry, and we're nearly ready to finish off our half dipped cake pop. So I'll just show you another half dipped one with another colour, and we'll go for the blue this time. We've got enough tapped off. Once again, just turn it over, tap down, and there we go. And we'll pop that back in the polystyrene to dry again. And we're just going to give it another couple of minutes, and we'll come back to finish off those 2. Okay, so we're back, and our second colour is completely dry, and we're going to go for the dip on the 3rd. So, dipping it less than we did the first time, so we just get a little bit on the top, and again tap off the excess. And as we did before, give it a little tap on the table to knock down the peak, and there you go, you've got your 3-colour cake pop. Pop it in the polystyrene to dry, and we'll just go back onto this one. We'll bring over our pink again, and once again we're just going to dip it a little. Tap off the excess. And there we go, we've got another 3-colour pop. But we're going to go a little different this time, and instead of having it this way up, we're going to make it stand up by itself. So we're just going to get a separate little extra candy button, and while our candy coating is still wet, we're just going to pop that on top of it, hold it for a minute, and then it'll stand up by itself. So that's what it looks like in the top. And that's it. Cake pops in 3 different ways. Hope you enjoyed it, and like I say, I popped a link for all the materials used below. So don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the page.